Hello and welcome back to the Dream Printing Podcast. I'm your host, Polly Payne, and today I'm going to take you behind the scenes on creating my 2027 planner collection. I'm so excited. It's kind of crazy to be doing it this far in advance. If you've never made a planner before, you might say, wow, that's really early to be working on your 2027 planner collection, but it's actually a perfect time to get started because the process of printing and publishing a luxury paper product takes time, which is an unfortunate truth for people who are like, ooh, I want to make something. And then it turns out, oh, it takes a bit longer than I thought. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes on my process because I really like to have lots of margin and space in creating my products because inevitably something will go wrong. There will be some sort of hiccup in your journey and in your process, especially if you're creating it for the first time or if you're really revamping a lot in your process. And I just like to have time. So it is a enjoyable journey. So I have my 2026 planner here. So this is my company, Horacio Printing. I'm the creator of the Dream Planner, which is trademarked. And this is my 2026 planner. I have a couple different styles. This was my newest style, which is a time stamp planner. And I love it. I love it so much. And it's crazy to go ahead and start dreaming about what 2027 will look like. So today I'm going to take you behind the scenes on where I'm at, what I've already done, what I'm doing right now in January of 2026, and what's coming up in February, and just take you in that journey. Now, what I'm creating right now and what I'm doing right now in my journey would look different if you were creating something for the first time. When you create something for the first time, there is a couple more steps you have to do, especially in the ideation and design process. Whenever it's your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time coming out with the same product, but just updating the insides, it's a lot less work, which is super exciting. So if you want to learn my process, the full one for someone the very first time, I have some videos you can watch on my channel. I'll link them here. I'll also link them below. But today I'm going to share with you what I'm doing in my journey and a couple of fun things we're bringing for 2027. All right, before I get started, I want to invite you to a 5-day Print Your Thing challenge. If you have the dream to create a luxury paper product, I have hundreds of students who have created their thing and I buy all of their products. They are piling up. I have a pile over here in my office that I need to unbox. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, by the way. Here's our Instagram. If you want to hang out, shoot me a DM. Would love to connect with you on Instagram. I usually do a lot of student unboxings and other content there. But I would love for you to join this 5-day challenge. If you have an idea and you want to get it out of your head and into your hands, this is going to be an accelerator for you. And it's really going to give you that full bird's eye view of what the journey entails, what is the cost, the timeline, all of it, if you're starting from the beginning. So I want to invite you to that challenge. It is going to be so much fun. You'll be so inspired. You can go here to dreamprinting.co/challenge to check that out. Okay, so let's get started on what I have done already and what I'm doing right now for the 2027 collection. So the very first thing I like to do fundamentally is build out my timeline. This is key. It's so important. And that's one of the reasons I'm starting in January, because this is not my first rodeo and I really want to get started early so I'm not in a crunch. I don't like being in a crunch. I don't like serving the tyranny of the urgent and being, we gotta get it done. Some people I know, it's like if that's what's required, like you must feel pressure in order to create, but I just don't. I like creating when it's less stressful. So the very first thing is the timeline, and I have a whole episode on timeline. We also go through the timeline in the 5-day challenge, but here's that episode. I'll link it somewhere around here and drop it below if that is helpful for you, because that's really one of the first things you want to figure out is your timeline, especially when it's a dated product. Dated products need to be sold and launched at least 3 months before it's time to use it. And that's if you're going direct to consumer. It's a whole nother ballgame if you're doing wholesale. You actually have to release your products like a year in advance with wholesale. But I'm really speaking to the brand to consumer timeline. So it's 3 months in advance, and you want to have your products in the door a month before that at least. So I'm looking at wanting my products, in my warehouse in September. Ideally, end of August would be great. So my timeline right now is January and February. We're in ideation and design being the key word there. I did a little ideation in December and even a little bit in November, which I'll get through. I'll go through the checklist of what I've done in December and November in just a minute. But generally speaking, January and February is ideation and design. March will be all the final editing, making sure all the dates are right. Is Christmas, obviously Christmas will be on the right day, but is Martin Luther King Jr. Day on the right day? Is everything in the right spot? When's Easter? Did we miss anything? Dotting all our I's, crossing all our T's with editing and checking. And then April, ideally, is when I'm going to order my samples. I've had it where I've ordered samples in May or April. I'm shooting for April. I'd love to have all of my samples in by May and make sure I love them. And then my photo shoot will be in June. June's a big month. June is the month where I want to place my mass order and also do my photo shoot with my samples. That's kind of the ideal scenario there. By ordering in June, I'm pretty much guaranteed to have them in my warehouse by September. Now, if I can do it faster and do my mass order in March or April, I will. We're going to go. That's just kind of like my tentative timeline for the 2027 planner collection. Again, if you want to watch the episode on timeline specifically, that is super helpful. I definitely recommend it if you are going on that journey this year. So the first thing was building out my timeline. Another thing that I did in the ideation phase already is I like to this is my process. My process is going to be different than your process, especially if it's your first time ever. But specifically for a planner, I really like to sit and think about my word of the year and what my word is for 2027. And I like to sit with God and just kind of reflect. And one of the things I did this year that I really, really enjoyed, I sat down and wrote out everything that happened in my life in 2025, professionally and personally. And I sat with that, and God just kind of helped me to see, okay, this was 2025. What do we want for 2026? And it was that inventory and audit that really helped to inspire my word for 2027. And I'm not going to share what that word is. Unfortunately, I'm going to wait. I'll probably be sharing it in closer to June I'll be sharing it whenever I'm filming my stuff for my photo shoot and video shoot in June. But I'm so excited because it definitely is going to be a different direction than we've been. Last year, here was my golden nugget new planner, which is our golden floral. We always do a white marble typically and a black leather dream planner, and then we have other things that we add to the collection. And so it was dark and florally, and so I'm excited to see where we kind of end up in 2027. But I usually like to come up with that word of the year and then really just sit in dreaming and ideation. And this year I did it visually. I don't always do this, but I did it visually because I wanted to see how everything would look together. So I started pulling different designs that I liked. I don't really have a lot of options because my branding is really, really short and sweet and clean. Horacio printing is very minimalistic. So I'm never going to come out with a purple planner. I'm never going to have like a multicolor planner. It's very clean and succinct. Our branding is, there's not a lot to work with. I can't just come out with like this blue, green, yellow thing. Like that's not in the brand color. So there is some limitations. You can see some of my planners from above, like white marble, blush, black and gold obviously are the colors. So I sat and dreamed in Canva, just kind of pulling different things together and seeing how it looked. And that was really, really fun. So I've already kind of done that. That's already been done. And one of the things I'm really, really excited about that I have not shared anywhere yet is we are looking at creating some custom fabric. Not fabric that you can purchase for pillows or curtains or anything, but fabric that we will be putting on some of our products. I have some fabric designs I wanted, and I reached out to my printer manufacturer to see, do you guys have ability to get a fabric like this to put on a journal, to put on a product? And they said, no, we'll have to custom make it. So this will be my first year, potentially. I'm not sure if we're going to do it yet. This will be my first year ever to make a custom designed fabric, which I'm super excited about. And I'm really hoping that it goes great. So some things I've learned, if you've ever been interested in having a custom fabric, is the minimum order quantity that my printer shared was 1,000 units. So it's not something you can get done, your first year, unless you're ordering 1,000 units of that one specific product. So that's just something good to know. Which my first year I did order 1,000 units, but my planner, if you've heard the story, you've heard the story, but it was nothing with fabric or custom or anything. So I'm really excited about that and to see how that goes. Also to see how does that change the price. I have not gotten my final quotes for this yet. And so that's something that's still in the works for quoting. But it has been really fun, and I will keep you posted on the custom fabric journey throughout the year as I do updates here on YouTube. Here's a couple things that I've done in this first step process. I will share the things that we have done and the things yet to do in this ideation design process. The very first thing I do when I know, okay, let's get our ducks in a row, is I go ahead and book my designer. Now, I use the same designer or designers for year over year. So they know me, we have a relationship. One of the things that's really nice, if you join my print school, you get access to my designers, the people that I love to hire for products. You also get training if you want to learn how to DIY design and templates. So that's really great. Getting access to people that are proven to be good. Also, if you don't want to spend the money on a designer and you want to learn how to be a designer, either via Canva or InDesign, we have that training for you. And I have a lot of students who hire a designer, but they still take the training, which if you saw my last interview with Fatima, she did that. She took the training and it helped her so much in designing all kinds of other stuff for her brand, like social media content, worksheets, PDFs. So that was great. It's a great free tool that you can use, and it's going to help you have a better eye, just elevate your branding and all the little things you have to make in your brand. So that's available for you in Print School. By the way, if you want to learn about Print School, dreamprinting.co is really the ticket to go learn more. Okay, so I got my designer, went ahead and got on her books because her dance card is typically full. So, hey, I booked her for when I'm going to need her. And we started talking about stuff. And the very first thing I have my designer do is mock up covers. I want her to mock up covers so I can see them and how they're going to realistically look. I also want to make sure, hey, can you do this? This is pretty custom. This is really neat. If it's not going to be something simple where I'm buying a photograph or something, I want to make sure she can do it. And so we had a conversation. I sent her some of my concepts that I'd created in Canva, and she is working on mocks. Another reason I have her create mocks is because I want my customers to vote. And so I will need those mock-ups in order to have a survey and let people vote. The other thing I have her go ahead and start on is the inner pages of my planner. So even if I don't have the copy to update in the planner, she can go ahead and change the dates. She can go ahead and change the holidays to be the next year and start getting those files ready and prepared. So that's the first thing. Another thing that we've already done is our index file, which is a file that I teach all of my students to make. We have a template for this to make it simple, but it's basically a skeleton outline of the planner in a Google sheet, which is basically an Excel file in Google that's easily shareable, that helps you understand page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, left side, right side, to make sure that all of the calendar dates are in the right spot. The designer knows what's on every single spread. And so we refresh those index files every year to send to my designer so that she has a clear plan and understands where to go. Because there's some weeks where, the week is split. I'm trying to see. Here's a calendar right here, March 2026. So in March of 2026, which I'll put the calendar here so you can see it. In March of 2026, the 29th through the 31st is, so Monday through Tuesday, you can see here, is in March. And then the rest of the week, the 1st through the 4th, is April. So this week, does it go with March or does it go with April? I put it with April because there's 4 days of this week that is April and 3 days of this week is March. So this week needs to move in the planner to be after the April month at a glance. So it's things like that that shift every year based on how the calendar falls. And so that's why we update the index file. The next thing that we've been working on over here is tweaking the planner. We typically don't tweak it too much because this is my, I think, 12th or 13th planner collection. And it's pretty much where it needs to be. But this year we are making some tweaks, and we've been dreaming about what those tweaks are going to be in the dream planning section, the personal growth section. And also, this was my first year to have a timestamp planner, and there were some pages in the planner that I thought, you know what, this could be better, especially because this was the first year we've had a planner this big. This was a very large planner, and some of the ways that things got resized, I didn't love it. And so, for example, one of the things we're going to fix is this being not so close to the coil, this being not so close to the coil. It was kind of a last minute thing that we added to the collection. So it was very much a quick, like, I really want to do this. And so there were some cut corners with that planner. And so to make it perfect next year, we have some tweaks to make. And so we've got those outlined. Another step that we are almost done with is the new copy for the planner. So the new welcome letter, the new seasonal prayers that go in the planner. And so that is going to be turned into our designer shortly so she can get all of that added in. Another thing that we've been working on is dreaming for the photo shoot. We want to have this epic 2-day photo shoot in June to really capture as much content as possible for all of 2027, as much as we can. We're going to be shooting Christmas. We're going to be shooting Black Friday. We're going to be shooting New Year's. We're going to be shooting as much as we can. So we've already started to kind of dream about what we need, what kind of props, and kind of planning for where we want it to be, what are the locations we want it to be. And that is something I also teach inside of Launch School. So Launch School is a bonus course that comes with Print School, and it gives you everything that you need to launch your paper product. So how to build your website, how to do social media, how to do SMS marketing, how to set up your email marketing. It's really just how to do a Kickstarter, how to do a pre-order campaign. It is all encompassing to help you launch and sell into the world. So that is something with the photo shoot that we've been dreaming on. And last but not least, the quote, getting that final quote for our planner so we can start making the decisions of how many do we want to order, which one are we going to order, all of those good things. So this is what we're working on right now, and we will soon be done. And looking forward into February, one thing I'm really excited about is we're going to be deploying our survey where people can vote on what they want. And this is really helpful because this helps me make a data-driven decision. Woo! Data. I love data. So I'm going to make a data-driven decision, not an emotional decision, although there are things where sometimes I keep it secret. And for example, I don't know, we shared the golden, the floral last year in the survey. But sometimes it's fun to surprise your audience with things that they don't know is coming. And so we're going to be deploying that survey in February. So that's what we're doing in January to get ready for our 2027 Dream Planner collection. It's a lot of work up front. And then, you know, really the designer is going to be finalizing. March, we're going to sit and really edit and tweak and double check everything. And then we're going to order our samples, and that's going to be really fun. And then we can kind of take a break. Another time that we get to take a break is once we order the mass order and do our photo shoot, we really get to take a break until it's time to launch the thing, which will be happening at the beginning of October. Crazy. So that's what's going on over here. I hope this was helpful for you. We have a lot of videos on helping you with your first time, but I will say if you are really serious about this, now is the time. If you come back in July or August and say, hey, I want to make a 2027 planner, it's going to be too late, period, point blank. So I highly recommend, if this is a dream on your bucket list this year, do it now. Go ahead and jump into Print School. Go to dreamprinting.co. If you want to accelerate and get 5 days of practical training and go ahead and start really working on your ideation and get clarity on what you want to make, who you want to make it for, and understand the cost and timeline, and we'll actually build your timeline together on day 5 in your project roadmap. take the challenge. Go to dreamprinting.co/challenge. You can sign up. I would love to see you there. You'll get the opportunity to talk with me, to ask questions. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you sign up. I would love to see you in the challenge. God bless you and happy 2026.